Today on the Q Agenda, we discuss asexuality. Is a life without experiencing any sexual attraction really possible?
And actress Alexandra Grey joins Juliana in a very intimate conversation that you don't want to miss.
And Bamby Salcedo from the TransLatin Coalition stops by to talk about her organization and why we all need to support it.
We have another great show for you guys today. With that and more, right here on
The Q Agenda.
An asexual is someone who does not experience sexual attraction. Unlike celibacy, which people choose, asexuality is an intrinsic part of who someone is. There's considerable diversity among the asexual community. Each asexual person experiences things like relationships, attraction, and arousal somewhat differently. So today we want to shine a light on asexuality.
Yeah, guys, I just feel like nobody ever talks about asexuality.
That's
like
true.
nobody ever mentions it. And for what I was reading and the research that I was doing, almost like about 250,000 people in the US alone they identify within the LGBTQ community as asexual. That does not include people outside from the LGBTQ community. Why are we not even talking about it or acting like they don't exist?
I mean, I can't even say that I've met an asexual person that I know of personally. You know, what I find most interesting is the fact that they have relationships and sometimes a sexual attraction, but that's it.
So I wish I knew more. Is there a difference between getting into a relationship and it naturally waning, which is pretty common, I think, in either hetero or homosexual relationships? It's just hot and passionate at first, and it just kind of becomes more about the bond towards as it grows older or grows on. So I don't know, are those people identifying as asexual, or what's the difference?
Well, what's clear is that they're not getting it on. That's
To
for
begin
sure.
with, at the beginning, right?
So actually, I might be a little guilty of even judging the community, because when I first moved to LA, I encountered someone who identified as asexual, and it really confused me, because it was like they were attracted to me, like we would engage in behavior, but it was like there was no
The next step.
want. It was like from my end, I'd be like, come over here.
Yeah.
And then, but from their end, it was like, no, I'm good. It was more, so from my perspective of interacting with an asexual person, it's more of they just want a bond. It's
Like a
more of a
closeness.
bond, more of that connection, as opposed to, anything sexual.
I wonder what the link is. For example, there's the myth that LGBTQ relationships are always very open, and some people seem to think that, it's a party, everybody against everybody. But it's like when you commit, for example, I've been married for 6 years, in a relationship for 10, and we are in a monogamous relationship. And, you make that conscious decision. Me personally, I don't feel like engaging sexually with anybody else except my husband. I wonder if it's something along those lines, or is it just chemically in your body, you just don't feel sexual attraction for other people?
I don't know. I think from that experience that I had, it was literally that. I can't speak. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor, but it was just this lack of want. It was not a lack of wanting a connection. The connection was something that was desired, but the going beyond that was something that just wasn't of interest. But it's something that the person wasn't opposed to, but it almost felt like it would have been a chore.
My question is, I guess, have you
Which
guys
a lot of housewives can.
have you guys
relate
ever
to.
been in a relationship where you chose not to engage in sexual activity?
I mean, no. If I was ever in a relationship like that, it's because I wasn't actually really into the person.
No shade.
So I tried to avoid sexual relations.
Yeah, I think it's two different roads we're talking about now.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm hesitant to speak, because I think that choosing to be abstain is different than being asexual.
Yeah.
I
We're gonna
just
have to
think that
bring
it is-
someone asexual to the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, let's bring someone to the show.
Or actually, you know what? I think this is a great opportunity to open it to our viewers.
Yeah.
If you have any input or any tips or anything that you can provide us, it'd be great. Reach out to us through Twitter
Yes,
or
please.
Instagram and just give us your comments and let us know so that we can incorporate it into future conversations. Because again, it's just a subject. As much as we know about the community and we like to have an opinion, we really just don't talk about it enough.
Yeah.
Right, and just like every other sexuality there is, it's always just gonna end up really being about that individual person.
Yes.
So it's important to also, look into the community as a whole, but also understand that, it's also an individual thing.
Well, this definitely has been a very interesting conversation. But when we come back, Juliana talks to Alexandra Grey, and I promise you, you don't want to miss it.
Alexandra Grey is an American actress and musician best known for her role as Melody Barnes on the Fox television series Empire. Juliana had the opportunity to sit down with her and talk. Let's take a look.
Alexandra Grey. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited that we finally get to have you on. You are just like every threat possible. You're beautiful, you're talented, you can sing, act. I always refer to you as the future Academy Award nominee because, we got to speak it into existence. But for those who are watching who aren't, frankly, who are sleeping and haven't watched you yet. Okay. So you've been hustling. From your role on Transparent to having serious roles on How to Get Away with Murder with Viola Davis, this groundbreaking role with Empire. Do you feel like it's finally starting? The momentum is starting for you?
Yeah, sure. I'm definitely really blessed. I pinch myself like every day because I just think about where I've come from, and I'm like, this is not supposed to be my life. So I always try to wake up and just be like super grateful for, everything that I've gotten a chance to do, because it's just been such a blessing. So it's been a journey. Definitely hasn't been easy. I feel like I'm earning my way, and I really like that.
How do you feed that drive and that passion despite society using parts of your story that they might just ignorantly use as tools against you to keep you down, such as being Black, such as being trans, which are all things that are so beautiful and powerful about your story. So how do you feed that drive and that passion to continue despite the backlash in a way?
I think that I just reached a point where I had nothing to lose. And like, I feel like when you hit rock bottom, it's just like at that point, it's like, I better just go after my dreams at this point. So that was kind of how it was for me, growing up in foster care and, being disowned by my family when I came out as trans. So it was really something to where it was like, I might as well, follow my dreams and try to be an actress. And, because I have no family, I have no friends, like my life is nothing, and so for me it was always just the thought that I had nothing to come back to. So I was like, if it doesn't work out, then I'm in no different place than I was when I started. But if it does work out, then I would have went and chased my dreams. And I did the whole thing, right? Like I came here homeless. I had $37 and on my card, and I didn't have a car. I lived homeless in a shelter, and I really just pounded the pavement, going to set. I was younger, so it was really exciting to me, and at that age, you know, everything is just, life is just so free at that point, you don't have any real responsibilities or anything. So for me, it was definitely just the thought that I know I'm talented. I know that there's nothing else in the world that I'd rather do than to be on television, and that later
Right.
transformed into it not just being about being an actress, right? It was like what I'm doing can actually make a difference in somebody else's life, right? Somebody who came up through my same situation, who maybe was disowned by their family. And so it's like what can maybe me being visible or me being on TV can help them see themselves, because I wish I had that when I was younger, and so that's kind of what it became about for me. So I guess I would just encourage anybody to just go after your dreams, because what's the worst that can happen? Like, it could actually happen. I think the fear
Right.
that it might happen.
Did you have a moment like during or after shooting that where you were like, this is like what it was all about all the time?
Yeah, before I worked on Empire, I had done a lot of guest stars and, kind of hop from show to show, which is, what a lot of new actors, do, which is great because it gives you that experience and all of that. But Empire was so special, woo, because first of all, I always dreamed about being on the show. Me and my friend, hey, we talk about when I was auditioning for the show when it first came out, and they were doing contests for people to maybe get a walk-on role, singing video contests, and I did all that stuff. And I just never thought that I would have gotten a chance to be on the show and to play the role that I've been playing. And it was always my dream moment. I always dreamed of being on stage at like the Grammys and performing in this gown and singing a ballad. And so for that to become reality, in the show, in the world of the show, it was just insane to me. It was like every single day. I just remember being so emotional, and I never wanted the day to end, because you have to record the song and the performance so many times. I mean, we may have did it like 20
Right.
times, with 600 extras and all of this. And I was just like, can we do it one more time? Because it's such a dream to get up there and be a star. That's essentially what you're doing. And a person like me was never supposed to be a star. So
When we come back, more with Alexandra Grey.
And we're back with more from Alexandra Grey.
How is that making you feel about your future as an individual and as an entertainer?
I really love what's happening. I think it's so special. I hate that it has to happen during one of the largest global pandemics in the world, but which I don't like, because I don't want us to have to be at risk, standing up for our basic human rights, and civil rights. So, but I love what's happening because the world as a collective is really saying no more, you know, like it's 2020, and the fact that we are still dealing with some of the same issues we were back in the 60s and 70s. It's unconscionable to me. It really hurts my heart, because it just shouldn't be that way. It's 2020, and like think people forget that, like it's 2020. Like I'm just saying, but I can't stress it's
No.
2020. But no, I'm really proud of everyone, so happy for people standing up with us. A lot of people don't remember, but back during the civil rights era, it was the fact that um, all of the beatings and the brutality that blacks endured was being televised around the world, and that really showed America in like a really bad light. You know what I mean? And I think that it was that really forced people to come band together with us. And so I love what's happening, and that the entire world is saying, no, this has to stop. So I'm really proud, and I'm happy for my trans sisters and brothers who are out there also making sure our lives matter as well, because they do. And we can't just say Black Lives Matters and only mean a few, right? It has to be the whole thing. At the end of the day, I'm Black before anything, okay? I can't change that, okay? So, you know, and I mean, it's so many people out there making ridiculous arguments about it. I'm just like, we're not gonna sit up here and debate it, okay?
I do want to talk a bit about disclosure, Doc, and just the importance of trans representation in media, specifically positive representation, such as your role as Melody in Empire. So can you just speak a bit about that, and what you hope will come from it, especially as an actress, especially with the goals and the dreams you have in entertainment?
Yeah, Disclosure is great. We shot that, I want to say a few years ago. So it was before kind of there was this new wave of trans representation that you now see on television. We see lots of series regulars and people joining the Marvel universe and stuff like that, which is all fantastic. so yeah, we shot that a few years ago, and I'm excited for it. I hope that it continues to do well. I think it's doing well. I think Netflix is a great platform, and I think it'll be nominated for an Oscar. I mean, it should be. But yeah, no, it's great. Everyone should really see the film because it's so beautiful, and it really focuses on the trans representation that we've seen, the good and the bad, right? Because there's been some good, but there's been a lot of bad. And I think that now we're working to correct those things. And I've noticed a shift as well. I've talked to several casting directors recently since then, and who've talked to me about it and talked about how moved they were by it. And so I think that that will reflect in the casting that we start to see and the roles that we start to see. And I hope so because I'm ready to be a series regular. Um, I'm ready to, be a leading woman. Now I say that in the most gracious way, but I'm ready.
So I'm so happy that you are doing what you're doing and that you are hustling because I know it's not easy. And I know it's an everyday effort. Um, and I want you and all of our sisters to get the praise and love and success that we are all deserving of because we're human. And I'm so grateful that you've taken the time to come chat with us. And I hope that you'll come back.
We want to thank Alexandra for joining us, and when we come back, Bamby Salcedo from the TransLatin Coalition joins us, and it is a conversation that you don't want to miss.
She is the founder of the Los Angeles-based TransLatin Coalition, which is an organization formed by trans Latina immigrant leaders who have come together since 2009 to organize and advocate for the needs of trans Latinx who are immigrants and reside in the U.S. Here to tell us more about their mission statement, we are excited to welcome Bamby Salcedo.
Woo!
Yes, Bamby.
Welcome, Bamby. Thank you for being with us. I think that the right way to start this conversation is what inspired you to get involved and to start this organization?
Well, first, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here with all of you, and also sending much love and gratitude to all the beautiful people who are watching us today. Obviously, we came together to address the specific needs and issues of our community. In 2009, there were two prominent trans-led national organizations that were doing great and amazing work, but unfortunately, they were not addressing the needs and issues of trans Latina immigrant women who were living in this country. And so we organized as a response to really have a voice and for us to address our own needs and issues.
I always like to, ask my sisters and brothers who are, leading organizations such like yours or taking on the title of activist, where do you find that drive? Because like I've asked some of the others, it's, we live in a very difficult society where there still isn't a lot of acknowledgement, respect, there's still a lot of ignorance. And like I've said before, for a lot of people, it's hard enough just to come out, let alone to take a stance publicly and fight for the justices we need. For you personally, how do you continue to do that despite all the pushback?
I have been doing this work for over 20 years. And when I first, started getting involved in the community, there were obviously different things that really got me to be involved in the community. One is that, I come from the darkness, right? I come from the streets. I have experienced and survived homelessness and sex work and drug abuse. And I was incarcerated in the state penitentiary for over 14 years of my life, going in and out of prison. And so all of those experiences and having the opportunity for me to reform my life and seeing that my sisters, the ones who once I stood up in a corner with, they were still having the same experiences. And because I had the privilege that I was, that I had the opportunity to get into a treatment center and really reform my life, I also felt that it was my responsibility because I did have that privilege. And also, one of the things that really marked my life and also the trans movement really was the murder of Gwen Araujo. Gwen Araujo was a 17-year-old trans Latina who was barely murdered. She was buried alive, and so that sparked something in me that really enraged me and really led me to do radical work and not caring for what anybody would think of me and what needs to be done.
Wow. What are some of the programs that you guys are working with for the community and to get people involved?
Well, our organization, as you said, started in 2009. We're a national advocacy organization that also started doing service provision in 2016 through the Center for Violence Prevention and Transgender Wellness. And we have a multiplicity of services. We actually are the first trans-led organization in Los Angeles that is providing services to all of our community here in Los Angeles. We have a drop-in space where people can come to. We give lunch every day. We have reentry services supporting people who are getting released from jail, prison, or immigration detention. We have a rapid response team supporting trans people who are getting out from immigration detention. We support people who are inside in immigration detention. Wow. We have an anti-violence project. We have legal services focusing on immigration. We also do policy. In fact, right now, we have a campaign to invest in trans lives, both targeting the government and the private sector. And we're asking the government of California to invest $100 million in trans lives.
Bamby, you are truly changing the world, and I am so honored to even be sharing a space with you and to call you my sister. I hope you will join us again. We want to thank Bamby Salcedo for joining us. For more on the TransLatin Coalition, go to translatincoalition.org. And for more on our show, don't forget to visit latv.com, and we will see you next time.